Well, when interest rates are low, then you have a lot more people that are looking, and that's what's going to push up the prices of the homes. But we're able to overcome that because there's a lot of different programs that are available.
Hello, and welcome to Real Loan Talk, the podcast where we unlock the secrets of creative financing and real estate. Hosted by Sonia Morgan from S.J. Morgan Private Lending Exchange, this show is your go-to source for expert advice on mortgages and real estate investments. Whether you're buying your first home, managing your investment portfolio, or considering a reverse mortgage, Sonia's insight will guide you through the process. Get ready to learn, grow, and achieve your financial goals. Let's dive in to today's episode.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today with Real Loan Talk with Sonia. And I am super excited to have my good friend and real estate partner, Deonna Price, with us today. Thanks for joining us, Deonna.
Thanks for having me, Sonia. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, and Deonna has been a licensed realtor since 2003. So both of us have been licensed for more than 20 years. So we've got a lot of years in the real estate industry. But Deonna is also the chapter success coach for Business Networking International, or better known as BNI. And she is also a certified senior real estate specialist. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And you can catch Deonna on my podcast, but you can also catch her on her very own television show called Negotiators Lux. And that streams on Apple TV, Roku, and RevealNet. And what season are you on now, Deonna?
We are just starting season 3, so We're so excited about it.
Yeah, super exciting. I've been honored to be on one of your shows, and it was super fun. So thank you for having me, and I'm super glad to have you here today. And one of the things I like to do when I'm starting my podcast, just to kind of get things going light and fun, is to start with a dad joke, and I know you have one ready and available for us. So let's hear it.
Okay, all right. So I'm super excited. I don't always remember the jokes, but this one was really funny. And so the question is, let's see here. Why do seagulls fly over the sea? You know? Okay, so if they flew over the bay, they would be bagels.
Okay. I like it. I actually had a dad joke too. And since we are from, we both work in the Modesto area and surrounding areas, I have kind of a Star Wars joke. So how many stormtroopers does it take to change a light bulb?
Not sure how many.
Well, none, because they're all from the dark side.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a call out to our George Lucas, who hails from Modesto. So anyways, we're glad to have you here today. And I also like to start my conversations with just some first-time home buyer, because I think we have some first-time home buyers, that are always looking on the internet, trying to find help about how to buy a home. And I know over the last 20 years, I know you've worked with first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
And so can you tell me a little bit about what are some of the challenges and fears that most of the first-time home buyers have that you work with, maybe 10, 15 years ago, as opposed to what they are today?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, working with first-time home buyers, they maybe have been on the fence about just taking that next step. They weren't sure what to do to start the process. And so you'd be able to help them to get going, talk with the lender, go through the steps. They would have funds available to help purchase the home and just to start looking. But now things have changed with interest rates being so high, having to have a lot more money for the down payment, especially when it comes to the inventory. So a lot more buyers are hesitant because there's a lot of different challenges, and those challenges are, they're stacked on top of each other, because it's not just one or two, but there's multiple challenges that home buyers are facing.
Yeah, I definitely can see that, because in times when the interest rates have been really low, like you've said, they've been able to overcome a lot of the hurdles of being a first-time home buyer, and they were super motivated because they were like, interest rates are low, we can get in. And what usually happens when interest rates are low because so many people enter the market?
Well, when interest rates are low, then you have a lot more people that are looking, and that's what's going to push up the prices of the homes. But we're able to overcome that because there's a lot of different programs that are available. So you can overcome one hurdle with there being interest rates because you have someone like me that's a realtor that can help you to navigate the process and look for properties even with there not being as much inventory around. But with the way the market is right now, it's a little more challenging. So we have to, it may be a little more challenging, but we can still find property. So even as first-time home buyers, it is possible for you to buy property. So even if you're hesitant, we're able to still work through the process for you.
Yeah, for sure. I have definitely found that first-time home buyers, as a general, like 5, 10, 15 years ago till today, there's always some trepidation, right? There's always a little bit of fear about buying a house and entering the market. And at some point you have to take that step, right? Kind of like jumping off the high dive. I remember when I was a little kid and my brother's older and he's like, you got to just jump off the high dive. And I was so afraid to do it,
Yes.
and then I finally jumped off. I was like, yes, I jumped off the high dive. And then I could all summer long, I just jumped and jumped and jumped, And so that does seem to be like for people who are buying their first home, it's that fear, like, I'm biting off more than I could chew. I'm not going to survive this, and then they get in, they buy their first home and then they stay, home buyers. They continue to buy homes and sometimes investment properties too.
And you know what I tell them? I tell them being nervous and being excited is the same emotion. So don't look at it as being nervous, look at it as being excited. And then that kind of helps them to settle down a little bit and look at it differently and have more of a positive outlook on what they're looking at. And that kind of helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually really great advice. So, I mean, it's true, it's true. And so I like that. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure that's helpful for people thinking about what they should do and why they should do it. But today we're going to talk about kind of the opposite end of the spectrum because you are a senior real estate specialist.
Yes.
And I also provide loans to seniors. And so I want to just talk a little bit about, from the training that you've had and the experience that you've had, what are some of the biggest challenges that seniors have and how do they overcome them? So let's just start with what are some of the key reasons that you find your senior clients are buying and selling real estate? Like what's putting them back in the market to buy and sell?
Okay. Well, first thing with seniors, they're in that golden age. So they've already went through the process where they have been the first time home buyer, they've raised their family, they've bought the bigger house, and now they're empty nesters. So it's time for them to make that decision. Okay, what do we do with this house where they may be by themselves or it could be a couple and they don't need so much space. So with them being in a bigger house, it's not just the house by itself, but it's also the additional costs that are coming along with that house. So now they may be thinking about moving to somewhere where they're thinking of retiring. Maybe they want to move to the coast or move to a different area where they've always wanted to live. Maybe they want to move closer with family because they need the additional help or they want to be with their kids or other loved ones, or even move to a retirement community. It could be a facility or it could be just an area that's specifically for seniors. So those are usually the reasons why seniors move. And so sometimes I will help them to sell a property and buy something that's smaller, that's a little more convenient for them. Or they may just be selling that to move into a senior facility or move with family.
So if somebody's had a property for a long time, so let's just assume that maybe they were somebody that bought a property, raised their family in a home, everybody's gone, like you said, and we're talking about seniors, but I'm feeling like we're talking about me. I'm like, I think I'm in the senior category. But they, so they kind of need to downsize, like you said, like the house is too big, the air conditioning bills, like what do they want? Some smaller space, not so much yard and all those types of things. Yes. But there's the fear of like capital gains or what about property taxes going up? And what kind of advice do you give or what advice do you have for seniors who are concerned that when they move, it's actually going to get more expensive because they're going to have to pay all these taxes on capital gains. And then they're also going to, have to have higher property taxes.
Right. So there is a tax benefit to where if you've lived in your property and you sell that property and you buy another property that's maybe smaller or in a different area. I believe it's called Proposition 19, where you can still have that same tax base as a senior. There's a couple other areas, I believe, if you have disability and other areas that are protected too. But specifically for seniors, that you still keep that same tax base, so you don't have to worry about paying a higher tax when you move and you buy another property. So that is a great tax benefit. So it gives you peace of mind if you're moving and you buy something else, or you are worried about the capital gains.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I've seen that too, and work with people. Like when we're doing loans, we deal with the tax piece a lot, because we're dealing with it with your monthly payment. Mm-hmm. And so if you're moving inside of Stanislaus County or San Joaquin County, then you definitely can maintain your tax basis. If you buy something that's even more expensive, then you can maintain your tax basis up until that point of the change in value of property. Mm-hmm. So, for like kind property. And so there's a lot of tax benefits. If you're leaving the counties, right, and you're going to a different county, then you just have to make sure that whatever county you're going into is okay with you transferring your tax base. So that's
Absolutely.
That would be the advice I would have. But so that's not necessarily a fear, Right. And then as far as capital gains, there's actually quite a bit of money that you can gain upside of what you purchased your house for that you don't pay income tax on. Yes. But that's definitely, talk to your CPA about that, before you get too worried about it, is what I would usually tell people.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
On that.
That's a great power partner to have, is your CPA, and, have them involved before you get ready to sell. So that way, how much you can sell and have that tax benefit and be protected. But it does give you peace of mind when you know that you do have that tax base.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. So do you have very many senior clients who keep the house that they had and use it as a rental and then buy another smaller property so that they don't have to pay capital gains? Have you seen that much?
That is sometimes an option for them, to where they can rent it out and have additional income for themselves and be able to purchase something that's smaller. So that is definitely an option, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I have seen a lot of times in that category, the clients that I've had are trying to simplify their life a little bit. And so having a rental isn't necessarily more simple, right? Yeah. I mean, for a lot of them, but it could be like an option, if they were looking at not wanting to pay capital gains, taxes on a sale, right. If they were. So definitely let's talk about
circumstances.
Yeah. And what are you finding so I know a lot of seniors will move out of just a typical neighborhood and move into a neighborhood that's specific for seniors, that has like homeowners associations, that have rules and regulations. Like, what is the benefit to a senior to move into that kind of a community?
Well, one of the benefits is they have a community that is more of the same kind. So you have more people that are their age. There's the benefit to have different community events together. Usually those types of communities, they have clubhouses, they have pools, and it's like a close-knit family outside of your family. So they do appreciate that most of the neighbors know each other, and so they all get along well. So a lot of times, especially if you don't have family that's nearby, that's a great idea to move to a retirement community for seniors.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of times too, the yards are a little bit smaller, but they have like you said, big community centers where they have like, there's one in Manteca where we're near that has like a dog park and like exercise facility, they're really nice. So, I mean, areas that you don't have to take care of, right? That other people take care of, and you have less of a footprint with your actual yard and home. So those are nice.
Very low maintenance.
Yeah. So tell me just a little bit about like, when you're working with seniors, like how do you work different with them than you just work with, like say a young couple with children? Like in your training stuff, how have you learned to handle and work well with that client to a way that really benefits them?
Okay. Well, I do like to be a resource for them. So one thing that I do is when there are different events for seniors here in the community, I will attend those events to find out the different resources that are available for seniors. And that way I have that information available to help them. So whether it has to do with food services, transportation services, health services. Even though it's not directly related to real estate, I am aware of what's going on so that I can help seniors. And then I do like to make it a family affair, because when it comes to like my mom, when it comes to my grandparents and so forth, I want to have that communication line open. So that way it gives them peace of mind, gives the family peace of mind, and they know that there's someone there that's taking care of their loved ones. So I think that that's very, very important when it comes to how their affairs are being handled. And so those are things that I do when it comes to going above and beyond for the seniors that I'm working with. It's a long process sometimes, and it does take a lot of care and in person. Seniors are not very tech savvy, so we do a lot of things in person. I'm going there and spending time with them, and they appreciate that, and they enjoy that time that is spent in person to go over all the little details with them. And so being the resource and being able to help walk them through all the steps and answering questions, I always tell the family, it's a family affair. Give me a call and let me know if you guys have questions too. I'm always happy to help and always happy to be there to answer them.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about what you said, and like we moved my mom back from North Carolina. I think it was about 4 years ago. And the price of homes in North Carolina were significantly different than the price of homes in California. Mm-hmm. And when we moved her in, she had that concern of like, who am I going to use for gardening now? And who am I going to, like all of the different services, who's my doctor going to be? And who's, they have all of this network of like services that they had. So I could see how that would be a huge value to them to know, yes, like to be connected to you. Not only are they getting connected for real estate, but they're getting connected for all of the other services that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So yeah.
And if I don't know the answer, I will definitely find it out or figure out who can find it out for you.
Yeah. And I agree, when you are working with, this client, you are needing to do more slow. I find myself having to slow things way down, mm-hmm, because I have a tendency to move fast, and so and it's kind of nice, it's a good kind of time to like slow down and get to know clients at a different level. They like to come into the office. They like to, they like to be face to face. And I really do, enjoy that, mm-hmm, and I know that one of the key concerns that I have with my clients in that age category is that they're living on fixed incomes. Yes. And they're not like, I can decide at the state I'm in my life. So I guess I'm not 100% senior yet, but I can still decide like, I want to work a little bit more, make a little bit more money. I can, if I feel like I'm being pressed financially, I can just put some more hours in. But a lot of them are in the retirement phase and they're on a fixed income. And their concern is like, how do I live my life without increasing the bills? And we've been in this inflationary spot right now, mm-hmm, where it's been difficult for especially the senior community to kind of get by, and so I know that I have several loans that are helpful for the seniors in the senior community. We do reverse mortgages. A lot of seniors don't really understand how that loan works and aren't even aware that you can buy a house utilizing a reverse mortgage.
Yes.
And you don't have to put 100% down, like you can get a reverse mortgage loan, in buying a house. And I think sometimes the fear for them is that they have these homes that, are going to need repair, and they're thinking, I'm not going to have the money to do the repairs. And so sometimes it's better for them to kind of start fresh with something that's not going to be as much maintenance, and utilizing a reverse mortgage. Mm. And I think a lot of people in that category can still do VA loans, which are super forgiving on income. So there are fears that I'm not going to qualify with my income, but a lot of them have been veterans, and I have found a lot of veterans in that age group never used their VA loan. I'm not sure why, but it was like they never touched it, didn't need it, didn't want it. And so, VA loans, FHA loans, and reverse mortgages are really great, for, that community.
Yes, mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, and so is there anything that you do to help them in that little financial piece of like, their concern is like, will I be able to sustain this home? Like, what kind of advice do you have for them in that category?
Well, yes, a couple of things. The first thing is making sure that I get them to the correct lender to make sure that we have all their finances in order, but also making sure that we go through and we really have a heart-to-heart talk about the property and make sure that the property is in order, and just making sure that they feel secure and comfortable, because usually it is sustainable, and usually there's not going to be any major things, but we'll go through and we'll have a checklist and talk about any major things, so that way it's addressed ahead of time.
Yeah, and I know once when I had a client that purchased a home that was a senior, and it wasn't long after that the heater went out in the middle of the winter, and she called crying, my heater just went out, it's going to be too much for me to fix. And luckily she had a home warranty on the property, and the home warranty company did a really great job of taking care of her and actually getting that furniture replaced, which is sometimes a hard thing to get done, but I just, I definitely know like those types of things like home warranties are super important for, all clients actually.
Absolutely.
But specifically in this category.
Yes.
Is there anything maybe that I haven't asked you or that you think you'd really like to share about that would be encouraging or helpful to people in the senior community?
I really enjoy working with the seniors, and I think that's one of the areas that gets overlooked a lot. But I feel like it's the biggest area that needs the most help, because the seniors, there are our parents, there are our grandparents, and because of them getting older with age, they really need a lot of help, and they need our care, and they put in that time, and we really need to look after them and take care of them. So regardless of if it's a mobile home, if it's regardless of the type of home it is or the type of property, I feel that it's important for us to be able to help them, and that's really why I have that senior real estate designation, to be there to look after our seniors, because that could be my mom or my grandma or my dad or my grandpa. So I look at every client of mine that's a senior as one of that family member. So
I definitely could see that. And honestly, Deonna, you're probably one of the most patient, kind people that I know. And so it doesn't surprise me that you've gone after that designation and that you have a heart, for that, clientele. So I appreciate you, doing that. And I'm sure I'll be needing your services as I continue to get empty nesting here, as well.
I appreciate that.
But thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on, and I look forward to having you in the future to talk about different topics.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on Real Loan Talk, hosted by Sonia Morgan. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found the information valuable. If you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes, please reach out to us. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. For more detailed resources, visit our website at sjmorganple.com. You can also follow us on social media and explore our podcast website at realloantalk.com. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and let's achieve your financial dreams together.